happen. Latino Rebels Radio Live. Third one in a row. Third one in a row. It's April 1st, 2020. I got the audio fixed and then I didn't have my AirPod, but we're here and I have my guest. So I'm just going to go at it. First of all, this is the third one. Welcome all you new people out there. I hope you're out there. Who knows? I mean, we had a great audience last night, so we're having another one here. So anyway, this is like we're getting the band back together. That's the part that I'm gonna be like, gonna get the band back together because if you are an original Latino Rebels radio fan, you would instantly recognize who my guest is, and she is from the West Coast. We'd always do this. I'm so happy to have her right now. Sharis Delgadillo from LA. What's up?
So good to be back. It's like old memories. We were co-hosting for like 3 years together. That was a really long time. Every Sunday, we were about it. We were doing it. We didn't care where. It was like in a bathroom somewhere, like in my car parked somewhere, like you're just like anywhere. You're in some closet. We're like, let's do this. Good times.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Listen, I have to kind of play with the mute. Like, unfortunately, my headphone died the last second, so I can't. I have to like control the soundboard. So we're gonna have to do like a. As much as I love to react, when you hear me laughing, you might not hear me because I'm muted. But you're in LA. I
Yes.
wanted to talk to you because you're in LA. You're in what's next going to be another epicenter. Can you just tell me what's going on in LA right now overall and how's your situation and all that, the things that you're going to do? Hey, Suzanne Arellano's here. So tell me what's up.
Yeah, so for a lot of I'm in Los Angeles County right now. Since the COVID virus broke out, I've been staying with my family, helping them out. I have my parents who are 65 plus, so I kind of been helping them out for about like the past month. Going out and running the essential errands for them so that they get the least exposure possible. So that's one aspect of it. So, it's definitely it can be very stressful. I guess just depending on what state that you're in or what area, even in Los Angeles, part of you're in. But, getting paper goods has been, quite the mission. Or like a couple weeks ago, like finding chicken at the grocery store was really tough. And that's not to say that there aren't other, products and things that are out there, but it's just those specific products that, I think people were anticipating that they were going to have to get quarantined. And so people jumped the gun and, just bought as much as they could to self quarantine. But then, everything got run out of stock. So, it's been quite the mission to go out and get some of those, essential products, disinfectants, and, the other weekend, like I had to go to Costco like early in the morning and there was like a big long line, and I kind of like I come back and I tell my folks, I'm like, wow, must have been like, you hear stories when I was like 10 years old about like Cold War communist Russia waiting in line for your ration. I'm like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm waiting for my ration of like toilet paper. So, I'm like, this is my life. Um, so that's one aspect of it, and another aspect of it. My stepfather, my mom's current husband, who I care for very much, he's a doctor. He's an internal medicine doctor, and he takes care of patients that have kidney failure. So he's in a lot of hospitals, and he's had to consult on some coronavirus patients himself. And unfortunately, last night, he came down with the fever, and he came down with the chill, and he came
Wow.
down with the aches. So right now he's self-quarantined in a spare bedroom in the house, and and he's going to be getting tested. Fortunately, he's gonna that he works at. Some of them are gonna, are expecting the testing to be coming in the next, 24 hours or so. Actually, he just got tested. So, and from what I've heard, the test is pretty gruesome. They have to like stick a big like cotton like swab like really far up,
Right.
like your nose almost down to the back of like your throat, because they need to. I guess that's where the virus. How everyone's talking about like the droplets. So I'm sure it has to do with respiratory and like your sinus. So they have to go back there and do it. So, I'm really hoping that he's okay. And, I feel like a germaphobe. I feel like, you know, uh, you have to like wipe down like every 5 minutes and wash your hands every 30 seconds. And, what order and what did you already touch? And I'm like, oh my God, this is how it must feel to have like
Right.
OCD or something. So, that's some of the stuff that I've been going through. So it's hitting home for sure, it really makes me open up my eyes even more so, personally, to how like the healthcare system is getting hit, and I really want a lot of people out there, that are listening to really take this seriously, because you don't know to what degree of level of symptoms you're going to get. We don't really know that much about this virus. I mean, I think that a lot of people think that, statistics are saying that, people 65 and older, it's only on 95%, it's a 95% survival rate or something like that. I'm sure people can look it up, but it doesn't mean that you can just, not protect yourself, and cover your face, like wash your hands, don't cough into like go outside and and then carry the cart, it's like, come on, dude, like, what time it is, like, stop that already.
So let me
That's so gross.
yeah, let me so I'm literally, because I want to make sure that the sound, yeah, I'm like a one man person right now. So you're on mute.
Sure.
You're on mute for a second, because I want to ask you another question, because I'm still trying to figure out, like, I thought everything was going to work out, but I like then my headphone didn't work. But anyway, um so tell me, so a couple of questions I'm going to toss your way so that you can just chill and be Sharis, and I can just listen, and like, because it's so nice to have you back. Um, so your family's okay, you're okay, I'm assuming, but also just what's the general mood out there, specifically in a place like LA, where everyone, I'm sure it's the same situation with immigrant communities out there that are doing the work, and everyone's, you see all these like LA people, I'm self isolating and playing songs, but the reality is that LA is much more complicated than that. Can you tell a little bit more what you've been hearing?
Well, I mean, I think, well, definitely right now, I mean, in terms of just social activity, I mean, I think that a lot of people are, there really is, things have like totally slowed down for sure. I think that in terms of, social activity, but there was like a lag. I would say something else that, a lot of people, so I think about, sometime this week, or late last week, I'm sorry. A lot of people saw the National Guard, driving like dozens of tanks, were being driven through by the National Guard through downtown Los Angeles. There was a lot of postings of that in social media. And I think that really freaked people out, because people, are thinking of like, oh my God, is there going to be riots? Is that why they're sending in the National Guard? Because LA is like home of the LA riots, so a lot of people are, it's a kind of a, reaction that Angelinos have, because of its history. Um, and, so there's that. A lot of people, are very skeptical, of course, thinking that this is the beginning of martial law. So there's some of that. And then there's some other people that think that, obviously that the National Guard is like necessary because other people aren't listening,
Right, right, right.
so, there's that. But, their presence when they came into Los Angeles was definitely very, very felt. And I think it kind of, made some people even more nervous than what they already are,
Right.
And then some other people thought it was good, because for a while, I think the week before that or 2 weeks before that, people were still going to the beaches. And I understand people need fresh air, but it's just kind of like there's just no, this is not like let's go to the beach vacay. Come on, guys, what I mean? Like, so I think other people, were definitely thinking like, we need more enforcement because people aren't taking this seriously.
Right.
So, there's both sides of that. My light went out. Sorry.
That's okay.
So, so there's some of that. I think that there's definitely right now there's also been there's some striking going on in Los Angeles, in East Los Angeles, because Los Angeles is a large amount of people that live in Los Angeles are renters and not homeowners. And it's the homeowners who are being given, I think it's like a 2-month grace period,
right,
to not have to pay like their mortgages. So a lot of like the renters are, making some noise right now on the streets, because they feel that, what about them? So there's that. I still haven't checked like what the latest news is. I know that those protests were happening like earlier today.
right.
But and right now, Mayor Eric Mayor Garcetti, he just gave a press conference, I think that he definitely announced some major news, which I'm not exactly sure, who he's going to hire, but he's planning on making 2 million masks.
Wow.
2 million masks because he feels that Los Angeles is home of like the fashion and the garment district in the fashion industry.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So that they're going to utilize their means of production to produce 2 million masks. And then in addition to that, there was more things, but I can't recall off the top of my head. So in a way that felt relieving, just in the sense that something is being done. Mayors, even at a local level, are thinking of ways of somehow fixing the system at a national level. So that was really good news. The only thing that did seem pretty harsh is that I guess there has been some non-essential businesses that have still been like operating, even though they've gotten a warning. So he's saying that, after, I'm not exactly sure exactly the nuances, but that basically if you get caught as a misdemeanor, if you're non-essential business still running after a warning, then you're subject to a misdemeanor, and that they're going to shut off like your water and power. So so those are some of the announcements that were just made. But I would say that in terms of like immigrants, I'll what I can say is this is what I've seen, because I have to tell you, Julio, that I've been self-quarantined kind of actually towards the beginning of March.
Yeah.
I kind of stopped going out because it was starting to get pretty serious. I stopped going to the gyms. I wasn't really going to like hang out like at night or anything. I kind of was staying back. So, I've been self-quarantined more for like about 3 weeks or so at this point. But what I can see in those 3 weeks that I've actually gotten out and just driven in my car to run some basic errands is that,
Right.
I'm seeing, immigrants like, migrantes on the corner, like selling masks. And I'm like, damn, boy, like hustler, They're like, oh, you need masks? I got masks. And I'm all like, dude,
Hey, so
like that's what's up.
that's what's up. So we got a question from Suzanne from Italiano, who was a guest last night, and she's gonna ask.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Hi,
here's the
Suzanne.
question: do you think the press has done a good job informing people about the pandemic? So what do you think, Sharis? Have they?
I mean, I would say, well, what press? Like national press, local press?
Like any press, in local press. Let's start with the local press and then start with the national.
I mean, I would say, like, after listening to Mayor Garcetti's press conference today, I felt relieved. But I feel like anytime anyone had anything to say, like, we're all listening to Cuomo, like, because, I mean, that was it. Like, he's like, you're listening to Trump.
So it's the second,
right? Just, his,
it's the second
being
night.
his
It's the
sociopathic
second night.
self.
that
Yeah.
Cuomo gets mentioned as someone who like you're the second person like listening to Cuomo, but continue.
Yeah. So yeah, like, when I'm listening to Cuomo, like everyone's thinking, okay, whatever's happening in New York is going to be happening everywhere else pretty much. So pay attention to what Cuomo's saying. But other than that, I kind of feel like actually there could be like better local coverage. I mean, I know in Los Angeles, we have our local news, but they were a little bit, kind of sweeping under the rug that like, dozens of tanks of the National Guard just like went through downtown Los Angeles. It's like, hello guys, like what is this about? Can you confirm, please? Um, so I would say no, there definitely could be a better job, of course. I mean, look at who we're listening to, from the White House,
Don't get me
is
started. Don't get me started.
yeah,
What are you thinking about all
yeah.
that?
So it's like, of course, I think that all like mayors, should be making some kind of, I mean, I don't know, or there should be some kind of platform where we can listen to what mayors of other states are saying, because we don't know. But definitely Mayor Garcetti has not been, I mean, I'm not trying to like say he hasn't been doing a good job. I mean, obviously he was coming up with a plan of action, but he could have probably communicated with the city a bit more, but he had some representatives, always give breaking news in terms of, when at least some kind of city council member or representative needed to address the public. But Cuomo, like he's definitely been like
We need a
like the
corrido.
mayor of like the U.S.
Sharis,
Yeah.
before I let you go, first of all, thank you so much. I got you on mute for a second because I just want it's nice, but it's really nice to see you. What what are you thinking? I mean, obviously your family situation. What do you
Yeah.
What are the things that are going through your head? I mean, I remember you told me last week when I went out to like a shopping thing on my Instagram. You were like, "Wear the mask, people. Wear the mask." What are you thinking?
um, I mean, I'm just like thinking that people need to take this seriously, I think that I personally think that everyone should be wearing a mask, to be honest. I know that right now that there's like a speech, or the president addressed it, and I think even Mayor Garcetti of Los Angeles, he also addressed, the issue. Well, let's just be clear, like the legitimate concern that everyone who's buying masks is buying off the medical supply. So he's encouraging homemade masks. Um, you know, um, but I would just say, yeah, like do what you can to cover like your droplets, man, because like if you're out, it's gross. Like if you're out, like outside and like you cough and then like you touch something, or like you have a runny nose and you don't have tissue and then
Yeah.
like you touch something, like cover like those points of entry. I just say like people really need to do a better job, because sometimes I go out and I'm like, to be honest, like I want to support the restaurant business, but I'm also very skeptical, like until they guarantee me that like they're wearing gloves or something, or that they're covering like their face while they're making my food. Other than that, I'd rather just keep making my own food, like, like,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
just
yeah.
things like that. I mean, yeah, I just think that like people should take this seriously and, just hope that like, it doesn't hurt someone in their family like it's hurting, someone in my family like right now. But hopefully, we'll see that they're okay. And I think that what else was some of the advisement that if of anyone that's gotten sick, or that that person who's gotten sick should trace back 2 days prior, thinking about who it is that they are, and advise everyone from those 2 days prior, the day they got sick, like that he got sick. So I mean, I think I want to like get back to like everyone. I want to get back to like my life. Um, and I have I'm a freelancer, you know what I mean? Like so, gigs, and like I need to get back on the ball. Like it's not a good thing to slow down, but like right now, all I can say is that I'm happy to like be helping out my family right now. But I would just want everyone to do their part so we can get rid of this thing, and get back to our normal lives, sooner than later.
Sharis, I appreciate you coming on. I really do.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yay, Julio, good seeing you.
Bye.
Bye.
That was Sharis. That was Sharis Delgadillo. I just want to thank her for coming. Thank you, Jaime and Suzanne. If anyone else is watching this, there was a problem that it's scheduled and then it didn't go up and then it went up and then but we're here and it's 10:21 and we did start on time. I wanted to share before we left. I want to thank Shadis again for being on, thinking about her family. She's a fantastic. She's just amazing, and you can see uh, just how great she is. And I just wanted to share something because I just want to share one thing about the president before I go. Yeah, she is great, Suzanne. Um, this is what the president of the United States did. And I'm just gonna go here and I'm just gonna friggin' play this because I'm like, what is going on today? So here we go. President of the United States. I know you shouldn't be watching. This is bad for your health sometimes, but you need to watch this. Here we go. President of the United States.
There's a growing threat that cartels, criminals, terrorists, and other malign actors will try to exploit the situation for their own gain.
Okay.
And we must not let that happen. We will never let that happen.
This is the start of the
Today, the United States is launching enhanced counter narcotics operations in the Western Hemisphere to protect the American people from the deadly scourge of illegal narcotics. We must not let the drug cartels exploit the pandemic to threaten American lives. In cooperation with the 22 partner nations, U.S. Southern Command will increase surveillance, disruption, and seizures of drug shipments and provide additional support for eradication efforts, which are going on right now at a record pace. We're deploying additional Navy destroyers, combat ships, aircraft and helicopters, Coast Guard cutters, and Air Force surveillance aircraft, doubling our capabilities in the region. Very importantly, our forces are fully equipped with personnel, protective equipment, and we've taken additional safety measures to ensure our troops remain healthy. Secretary Mark Esper, Attorney General Bill Barr, National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien will provide more details. In addition, I'm going to have General Milley, who's done an incredible job in so many ways, say a few words, and also with us our Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Gilday.
Okay, all right, I'm done. Listen, if you were watching this, I don't know if you watched it or not, but this was the daily coronavirus press briefing. If people were watching this yesterday, right? It's just my mom. I have to. Can I just bring up my mom's comment? This is my mom, guys. This is my mom right here. That's my mother. Is his speech written phonetically? I love my mom. Mom, yeah, I am not gonna forget the fact that you were one of my first viewers of Latino Rebels Radio Live. So it's so cute. Thanks, Mom. But the point being is, yesterday, right? Yesterday, he, and I'm just gonna leave Suzanne's comment there because it's gonna lead to Suzanne's comment. Yesterday, he had this big grim 100,000 and 200,000 Americans are gonna die. Love you too, Mom. And that was yesterday. Today, right? So we went from 100,000 to 200,000 Americans are going to die in the COVID-19 outbreak if we don't mitigate. That was what he said, right? So everyone's like, oh my God, the president's getting serious again. Maybe he learned something. Maybe he's being personally affected by this. And then you're thinking, oh, well, maybe we're going to take this serious. Maybe we're going to stop the spread. Here we go. Right? Maybe we're going to flatten the curve. He finally showed up. The next day, he's talking about drug cartels and about going to go after drug dealers. because that's going to stop the coronavirus spread. I wrote this piece for the Washington Post last week talking about how Trump was using xenophobia to blame the spread of the virus on migrants. It's pretty clear that the virus didn't come from the global south. And in fact, if you look at the reports, the United States exported the virus to Latin America. There was a report in the Washington Post where it was like rich Mexicans that skied in Colorado that brought the virus back to Mexico City. So, long story short, what you saw today, if you really understand American history, and that's why I kept Suzanne Ramirez Arellano's comment on my screen, this is called wagging the dog. This is called fabrication. William Barr is an alumnus of the senior Bush daddy, Daddy Bush, the dad, the vice president, and Reagan, and Elliot Abrams is running Venezuela policy. And you're seeing all these things happening at the same time we have a major COVID-19 outbreak. And what the president's trying to do, you need to really understand this, and I'm going to run a couple of minutes longer because I want people to really understand what the president is trying to do, is that this is his re-election campaign strategy. He is not going to win on the COVID-19 outbreak. No American president's going to win on, hey, 100,000 to 200,000 Americans died under my watch. And if you notice, he hasn't said that, right? If you look at the press briefing, he turns it over to Fauci and Dr. Birx, right? And he doesn't say it. But that was the attitude of yesterday. Today, what does he come in as? We're going to fight the cartels. I personally believe that he probably watched like Narcos Mexico this weekend and thought that this was the biggest, he thought that this was reality, even though that situation was in the 80s and the 90s. It's amazing what we're seeing here. And in the biggest global pandemic, we're in such a wag the dog situation that I feel like I'm back in the 80s and the 90s. Are we going to invade Panama now? Now, seriously. So really understand that Trump is using these press briefings, whatever they're called, as a re-election campaign strategy. And listening to the scientists is what we should be listening to. And but what's fascinating, or not fascinating, is that the American media, American political media, because he brings that out, are now saying, oh, maybe the cartels are causing a problem during this coronavirus crisis. It's already out. And that's the part where we as Americans and we as journalists need to be a little bit more responsible in not letting things like that just slip away. And again, no real questions at the White House press briefing, and I don't know. But listen, guys, we're going to be back tomorrow. I hope you liked it. I hope you like this. Trying to fix the format, trying to fix the audio, but third show better than the second show, better than this. We're going to keep at it. My good friend Cesar Vargas is going to be on tomorrow. If you know who Cesar Vargas is, he's a fantastic writer, fantastic filmmaker, Dominican, very opinionated. No hay filtro en la lengua. And he is just super smart. I've known him for years, and I asked him to come on, and he's going to come on. So we will be back Thursday night. We'll fix all the links, but for the people who are here, thank you. And you know what? You might not be watching this later. It'll be up on Facebook as a video. And like we always do, and I'm going to do this right this time, we always close out with La Plebe en Venas Abiertas. This thing better play. I'm Julio Ricardo Varela, host of Latino Rebels Radio. This is Latino Rebels Live, April 1st, 2020. It was no April Fools, what you saw with the president. He actually believes that. That's not a joke. But guys, thank you so much, and we will be back tomorrow night. And thank you, Jaime, for that last, I'm just going to put Jaime's last comment before I go. How wonderful. While U.S. is the second world producer of opioids after China, furthermore, Venezuela doesn't even qualify in the first 50 countries with drug trafficking, trying to attack Venezuela where there are U.S. ships with the virus on board and whole companies in the Middle East totally contained. There's a lot of things going on in the Caribbean suddenly. And, is Manuel Noriega coming back? Like, seriously, are we invading Panama? Like, we are doing this again. I'm just going to move on. It's so complicated. But anyway, let's just listen to some good music. And Venas Abiertas, La Plebe, thank you guys so much. Julio, Ricardo, Varela, Latino Rebels Radio. We are at it.